Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I am your host, Nelson, and today we are going to pivot once again from talking about NBA basketball to talking about college basketball. I actually have a game going on in the background right now. Purdue going up against Michigan State. The score right now is 18-10 in favor of Purdue with 8 minutes left to go in the first half. So we're going to talk about this game a little bit that's going on right now, giving updates on some of the things that go on. So if I look this way, then you'll know exactly why. People on the podcast, they don't know that I'm looking over towards the TV right now, but yeah, I can't show you guys the clips and what's going on the TV due to copyright issues. I'm just going to give updates as they go on, like any scoring changes, things of that nature. But this is a very important quarterfinal game that's going on, and we're also going to talk about the rest of the other quarterfinal games that are either going on right now or are about to happen later on tonight. So that's going to be segment one. So biggest segment. And then the second segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics, they just recently clinched the number one seed, a playoff spot, pardon me. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and give a quick recap of all the games that happened from last night. We also have our special fourth segment, so go ahead and stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, before I begin with the first segment, I'd like to remind everybody to please use the link in the description to tip and to donate. Actually, use the link that is displayed below the ticker on every single show segment. It's the same thing. That is gsmcpodcast.net. And with that out of the way, we can go right ahead and talk about some of the games that are going on tonight. And obviously, as I mentioned earlier, one of the games happening right now, Purdue going up against Michigan State. Now, I picked Purdue to end up winning this game. However, the odds say that Michigan is actually the favorite, and they think that Michigan is going to end up prevailing in the end. Now, judging by the score of this game and what's going on right now, Michigan State just missed a field goal. Purdue just grabbed the rebound, and looking at how this game is playing out, I don't really think that Michigan is going to end up winning this game in the end. However, Purdue has let me down before, so I'm never going to put it past them to let me down again. Another game that's going on is Colorado State going up against New Mexico. Colorado State is considered to be the favorites in the betting odds right now, and the scoring is projected to reach the over. So if any of you bettors out there, definitely go ahead and vote for the over. East Carolina matches up against South Florida today. Michigan State is just 4 points behind Purdue right now. They're moving with very quick pacing, I will say. East Carolina matches up against South Florida today, and East Carolina is 8-point favorites according to the spread. They actually match up right now, in an hour or so, excuse me. But so that's those guys are the favorites, East Carolina. They're 8-point favorites going into this, so definitely something to keep an eye out. Another game that's going on, or that's about to go on at 1 o'clock tonight is Mississippi State going up against Tennessee. Now, obviously, Tennessee, they upset the University of Kentucky in the last game, so they're definitely not one to be trifled with, I will say. Don't mess with that team. Whoa. That's one of the players on Purdue almost threw a turnover. But Michigan State, they're playing some really good defense right now, and they're still able to they're still clawing their way in this game. Purdue is the number one seed in their little division, but this game right now is it's getting very competitive. Right now, Michigan State is down only 2 points, and Purdue has only been able to get 20 points. So obviously, this is a very important game, I will say. This game is looking really good. Next game on the list is Kent State going up against Bowling Green. So Kent State is a 1-point favorite against Bowling Green, and they should go over the spread of 136.5. So for any of you bettors out there, they play at 5 p.m. This is going to be a very close game. I actually think Bowling Green is going to prevail. I don't know why. I just have this strange feeling. Like, because, March Madness, anything can happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if either team comes out on top in this scenario. Let's see. Going up to the next, Wisconsin matches up against Northwestern. Northwestern is 4-point favorites. And the spread of this game is supposed to be over 134.5. So, again, any of you bettors out there, make sure you vote for the over. Let's go right along down this list. St. John's matches up against UConn, the former champions of the NCAA tournament. Obviously, UConn is they're 9-point favorites going into this game, and the spread is projected to hit the over. Oh, wow. Right now Michigan's playing the zone on Purdue right now, and it's working very well. They keep trying to and won by Purdue. It scores 24-21 right now. So, very competitive game. I really wish I could sit here and watch this game, but I got a show to do, so I can't. University of Pittsburgh goes up against North Carolina, and surprisingly, Pittsburgh are 7-point favorites against North Carolina. Now, this game is going to happen at 7 o'clock. Obviously, with the history of North Carolina, they're no stranger to winning in these type of games. So, while Pittsburgh might be 7-point favorites, I have North Carolina in this one, just because I think the history and the experience, it's going to play a factor. That's just me, however. I mean, obviously, being 7-point favorites, it's not looking good for me, but I digress. We'll see how this goes later on. Let's keep going down the list. Wichita State Shockers, they match up against let me just go ahead and read this team right now. They match up against the UAB Blazers. Now, again, this isn't really much of a popular game. It's a little meh. But the Wichita, if I botched that name, yeah, Wichita, excuse me, Jesus Christ, I'm terrible today with the spelling. They're 5-point favorites with the over, with the betting odds hitting the over of 146.5. Okay, so Michigan State just missed a field goal, and Purdue has the ball. With 4 minutes left, 3:46 technically. It looks like they're going to try holding the ball, try to regroup. But it's a low-scoring game right now for Purdue. I mean, only 25-21. There's a lot of defense being played here. And their center's getting double-teamed right now. Next game on this list, South Carolina against Auburn. I have Auburn winning this one. South Carolina, their strength is in the women's basketball team. Not so much the men's basketball team, but their men's team is pretty good, obviously. And Auburn are 8-point favorites. However, this game starts at 3:30, and obviously, turnover. Purdue just saved the ball. Oh, I don't know there's a huge scuffle going on right now. I don't know who saved the ball, but it looks like it's a jump ball, and now Michigan State has the ball. Timeout, Michigan State. So that was a little random. So yeah, next game on this list, Texas Tech going up against Houston. I got Houston, plain and simple. I mean, Houston is a powerhouse of a team right now. They're 9-point favorites. I've seen them play. They're incredibly dominant when they get it going, and I really think that Houston's going to end up winning this game. And another team that's playing tonight is Quinnipiac Bobcats. Let's go Q. Am I right? So they play against the St. Peter's Peacocks. Now, it's a little bit of a conflict of interest. If you know me, I'm from Jersey. I was a fan of the Peacocks when they went on that Cinderella run. Now that I'm in college, I got my loyalties with QU. So it's a little bit difficult for me to pick, but I really think QU is going to end up winning this game. And enough said. I'm not going to talk about this game whatsoever because I do not want to say anything that could affect the outcomes. Again, incredibly superstitious. Next game on the list is Alabama A&M going up against not Texas Tech, but Texas Southern Tigers, just to clarify the difference. Alabama is a 6.5 favorite, however, going into this matchup. And I don't know what it is, but like Alabama, they always have like some ridiculous athletes. Like in any sport, now they always seem to go to Alabama. Like, not obviously this isn't the same Alabama that's dominant in football, or that was dominant in football, I should say. Shout out to Kenneth. He does our football podcast on our show. I really recommend you guys watch it. He does a really good job covering the free agency, and I'm pretty sure his next segment, he's going to talk about Aaron Donald retiring, so go ahead and watch that. I also recommend watching TJ, who does the sports podcast. He does the show directly after mine, so go ahead and watch his show. He's probably going to talk about Aaron Donald. For any of you guys who are interested in football, go ahead and check out the rest of these shows. They're really cool. They're really great guys, and obviously, like, they're just as good as doing a show segment by themselves as I am, so yeah. Go ahead and watch their shows. Next game on this list is Oregon going up against Arizona. Now, Oregon are 11-point favorites. This is the first team that are double-digit favorites off of this list. Just looking at the Purdue game right now. They're coming out of the timeout, getting ready to commence playing basketball. But yeah, Oregon, they're 11-point favorites going into this game. So, but the spread, they think it's going to be under 155, because that is a huge spread. I can't even lie. That is a very huge spread, 155. But next game on this list is, it might seem like I'm skimming through a lot of these games, but like there's a lot of them to be played, and I'm trying to get through as many as I can. So, Ohio State is going to match up against Illinois. This is actually going to be one of the closer matchups. Ohio State is a 5-point favorite, but Illinois is really, really good and is a really good unit in that conference. So it could really go both ways. I could 100% see Illinois upsetting Ohio State in this next game, but we'll see how this game goes. The next team is Ohio, like not Ohio State, but just the Ohio Bobcats. They're fake. They're not the real Bobcats. Quinnipiac are the real Bobcats. But they go up against Akron, the Akron Zips, and they're only 1.5 favorites. I actually think Akron is going to end up beating this Ohio team, the Ohio Bobcats. No, not because of the fact that I think they're not the real Bobcats, but because their records they're roughly the same, and they're actually exactly the same. But I really think Akron is going to end up prevailing in this game. I just have a feeling. Like some of these games, like you can't explain the results. You just have a feeling, because anything can happen. The center on Purdue is getting absolutely double teamed in this zone. They got to play zone on this man, because he is a nightmare to try to defend in that post. The next matchup in the MAAC is Marist going up against Fairfield. This is the matchup that's going to determine like who's going to play against QU, because I know QU is going to end up winning against the Peacocks. So depending on which team ends up winning this game, that's the team that we're going to match up against in the finals to hopefully represent the MAAC in the NCAA tournament. Marist is actually 5-point favorites to end up winning this game. I'm actually very surprised, because Fairfield in the beginning, they used to be like, they were the favorites to win the entire MAAC. So seeing that now Marist is considered to be the favorites that could beat them is really concerning, not just for me, like not just for them, but also for Quinnipiac, because last time we played in the tournament, Quinnipiac lost to Marist. So this is going to be a rematch that a lot of people are going to be hoping to see. But I don't expect Marist to win. I think Fairfield, other than us being the dominant team, Fairfield was the other dominant team in the MAAC. So with that in mind, I still think that Fairfield should be considered the favorites to end up winning this game. However, Marist has played really well. Ooh, somebody went down on Purdue. Someone's really slow to get up on Purdue. I have no idea what just happened. Maybe he got... Yeah, okay, he's good. He's walking. He's walking on both his feet. He just really hurt. Next game on this list, San Diego State going up against Utah State. Utah State, ooh, I see what happened. He bumped into somebody and it hit him in the head. Ooh, that's going to hurt. Like at the bottom of his chin. Utah State are 4-point favorites against San Diego State. And not really much that needs to be said going into that game. And there's a lot more games going on this list. And I really wish I can get through all of them. But right now we are out of time going into the first segment. So now I have to pivot and go and talk about NBA basketball. Unless you guys want me to continue talking about the rest of this, let me know what you guys want in the comments for any of those guys watching. But again, a lot of college teams to cover. Can't cover them all in just one segment. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot over to NBA basketball. I'll still keep everyone updated on this game that's going on right now. Right now they're just about to enter the half, so really perfect timing for me. And if the game does come on, like in any of the segments, I'll go ahead and update everybody on like things of that nature. But I'll be right back after this short break where we are going to pivot up to NBA basketball and talk about the NBA players, like the Boston Celtics, and their recent win going up against Phoenix. Jeez. So I will be right back after this short break.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
And we are back with the second segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this second segment, we are going to be talking about NBA basketball, and we're going to be talking about the Boston Celtics recently beating the Phoenix Suns at home. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that. But before I begin with this segment, I like to remind everybody to please tip and donate to get your comments recognized. Use the link that is displayed below the ticker on every single show segment. That is gsmcpodcast.net. With that out of the way, we can go right ahead and go on into our second segment, which is going to be talking about the Boston Celtics and their recent win. I'm just pulling up the box scores right now. Their recent win going up against Phoenix. With this win, the Boston Celtics have officially clinched a playoff spot. So they technically could go the entire season just tanking, and they'll still be fine. But obviously, they're not going to do that. They're going to continue rolling with the rest of this season. Right now, it's just about to enter the half, so I'm going to go ahead and change this game to a different game that's going on right now. The Big East men's tournament. It's Seton Hall going up against St. John. Just to see the results of this game and the final score, because the game is ending. So 10 seconds left in the second half. St. John's is up 85-72 on Seton Hall, and St. John's is ranked 5th. So this is an upset coming in from St. John's, a very huge upset. Seton Hall choked in this game. Goodness me. But again, like, I know I said I was going to talk about NBA basketball, but this is still basketball, and it's still pretty big. I did not have St. John's winning this game at all, but I digress. I'm going to go ahead and focus on the Boston Celtics right now, since I did say that's exactly what I was going to do. And going into this game, obviously, like, the most important thing and the most dominant thing and consistent thing, honestly, about the Boston Celtics has been their defense. They always come out the game strong on the defensive side of the ball. It's every single time, and that's something that should concern a lot of teams, because they prioritize the defense. And if the defense is being prioritized, they have some, again, defense is in the playoffs is something that teams can fall back on. And I'm looking at this article right now. Every time we see this Boston Celtics team record an impressive win, it started on the defensive end. And going up against Phoenix, like, you could see that, like, they really focused on trying to slow down Kevin Durant and slow down all of those three players. And it shows in the box scores as well. Looking at the final box scores, Devin Booker ended the game with 23 points on 20 shots. Bradley Beal ended the game with 22 points on 17 shots. And Kevin Durant ended with 20 points on 19 shots. So, with that in mind, like, this defense is absolutely insane. And like, obviously, like, it speaks a lot on like, being able to stop Kevin Durant. It definitely speaks a lot on their playoff prowess and exactly, like, what should be like, the fact that they are able to stop KD and the Phoenix Suns. It really shows just how good their defense is, like, not just as a team, but going man to man, because they isolate the ball a lot. So they're able to defend the isolation, especially when there's three players that have the ability to ISO. Usually, like, guarding one player that ISOs is really easy, given how usually it's only one good defender on your team. But if the team has multiple players who can isolate and score the ball efficiently, it becomes a much more difficult task being able to stop them. And the fact that the Boston Celtics have enough competent defenders from the 1 through the 5 to be able to stop them is very impressive, and it's something that not many teams have. Now, they are the favorites to winning it all, obviously, because they are, without a doubt, the best team in the Eastern Conference. Even with this win, however, and even with this clinch, I don't consider them to be favorites. I really don't. I think the Denver Nuggets, they have a better chance of winning the NBA Finals than the Boston Celtics do. And part of that is experience. Jokic and Jamal Murray, they have experience playing in those finals, and they have experience winning in those finals. I know the Boston Celtics, they have experience playing in the finals, but they didn't really end up winning that finals. And part of that is because Jason Tatum didn't show up when it mattered most. He didn't play bad overall in the series, but he just didn't show up when they needed him to. And it's a similar story going into this game, like, to be totally frank. If I remember correctly, I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I'm not making things up real quick, but Jason Tatum, he had around 23 or so points at the first half, if I remember correctly. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that I'm right on this. I did a short on this previously, so go ahead and watch that. But yeah, he ended the game. Yeah, he had 23 points at the half, but he ended the game with 26 points. What happened? Where did the scoring go? That's really, really concerning. I mean, going from a first half of getting 23 points, I mean, that's great and all, but then only scoring 3 points in the entire second half when you're the number one option, And like the game was close at the half. The game was 65-60 in favor of Boston. So it's not like they didn't need Jason Tatum scoring and they were just blowing them out. No, they needed his scoring. Jaylen Brown ended the game with 37 points. How does he end the game with more points than Jason Tatum? Like what? That really does not make any sense to me. And Jason Tatum, he gets a lot of hype around, not just in Boston, but like a bunch of random, I think it's mostly Boston fans, now that I think about it. He gets a lot of hype around Boston fans, and I don't understand where that hype is coming from. That is very, very concerning, because I'm very surprised he didn't finish this game with at least 30. But, again, at least he made up for it on the defense, and at least the Boston Celtics were able to come out with this win. And thankfully, they have Jaylen Brown, another who was also the only player that actually showed up in the finals. When you're talking about like the star players around Boston, he was one of the few star players that actually showed up, and Jason Tatum, he did not. Now, obviously, like this team and their defense is not something to be underestimated. It's mainly their offense. Like, I just don't trust the Boston Celtics. It's just something that you just know. And it's like, I've seen it countless of times every single year with this team. It's like they're always expected to be favorites. They're always expected to make the finals. They're always expected to make a deep run. But every single time, they just mess up at the last possible second. Every time. This happens all the time. Eastern Conference Finals, every single time. It's been going on since 2011. Like, they've been relegated from 2011 all the way to 2018 to being LeBron's Eastern Conference doormat. Every single time they would lose to LeBron in the playoffs. Now, when it came to 2018, now obviously like losing to LeBron in the playoffs, it's not something to really be upset about, but it happened every single season for Boston. And even in the season when they were considered to be the favorites in 2018, they still ended up losing. Now, obviously, they did not have Gordon Hayward or Kyrie Irving in that series, but they ended up going farther without Kyrie than they did with Kyrie. So I don't think that argument is valid, because if they had Kyrie, I'm not entirely sure if things would be any different. And the Boston Celtics, as a franchise, they've never lost in 2018, like up until 2018, they've never lost a series when they were up 2-0. LeBron changed that. Completely changed that. And they were expected to win at home in Game 7, but that never happened. And I understand it's LeBron, but even after LeBron, they still can't get over that hump. And I just don't understand how and why. They lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals when they had Kyrie. Then, when the bubble happened, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they lost to the Heat. Then, after that, they matched up against Brooklyn, lost in the first round. Then, they matched up against Brooklyn again, they beat them, and then they made it to the finals, but they lost to Golden State. And here we are, well, last year technically, then they go up against the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. They get close to coming back from 3-0, but the fact that they were even down 3-0 to the Miami Heat is insane in of itself. And then they played at home in the Garden to close out the series in Game 7, and they got blown out. I don't understand what it is. It's like with Boston, what can go wrong will go wrong. They're like the for all of you guys that like football, they're like the 49ers of basketball. That's honestly the best way to put it. They're like the 49ers or the Cowboys of basketball. Franchises that have a ridiculous past and a very dominant past, but recently have always come up short when the lights shine the brightest. That seems to be a common theme with this Boston Celtics. Now, with that, we are out of time for this second segment. So now I'm going to go into the third segment where I talk about the rest of the NBA games that went down and give a quick recap of my thoughts on these games. And I will be right back after this short break. And if the college game starts and commences, I'll keep updating everybody on what's going on there. But I will be right back after this short break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this third segment, we are going to be talking about all the NBA games that just happened. As usual, we're going to give a quick recap. Okay, so far the game has yet to start yet, so don't need to really worry much about that. But let's go right ahead. I already talked about the Boston Celtics game, and how their defense was really dominant in this win. And obviously, like, the defense being dominant led to them scoring a bunch of points. Now, one of the games, let's see, what games do we have on this list? The Oklahoma City Thunder, they matched up against the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic was ruled out due to a hamstring soreness. And there was no good news for the Dallas Mavericks in this game. And Daniel Gafford, he was on pace to breaking Wilt Chamberlain's record for most consecutive made field goals with 35, but he ended up missing his 34th field goal. So Wilt Chamberlain still holds that record for most consecutive field goals made. And a lot of people, like, they sort of, like, brushed it off the rug, like, we knew that wasn't going to happen because Luka Doncic wasn't in the game. And they essentially, like, they operate pick and rolls together. And Luka being such a great playmaker, it makes sense how he didn't end up breaking this record. If Luka was actually, like, playing in this game, I think he would have broken it. But unfortunately, he'll have to try setting that record another day. Or breaking that record another day. Kyrie Irving had a great game tonight. He ended the game with 36 points, shot 12 of 18 from the field, very efficient. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 23 points, 8 of 13 from the field. Daniel Gafford, 8 of 11 from the field, 19 points. And
everyone was efficient except for PJ Washington, who ended the game 1 for 11 with 6 points. Goodness me, he's like Carmelo Anthony on Houston. But I digress. So, Kyrie also ended with 12 assists. I really should add on to that, because Kyrie's not really known for being that much of a passer as he's known for being a shot maker, shot creator, those kind of things. And the final score of this game is 126-119 in favor of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Thunder, Shai Gilgeous, he ended the game with another 31-point game. I have no idea how he scores 31 points on the dot
every single time I look at him. It's really insane. But Jalen Williams, his other scoring partner, ended the game with 27 points. Chet Holmgren ended the game with 11 points. And let's see. Let's keep going to the box scores. And they shot 41% from 3 as a team. So, I mean, I don't really think there's much that needs to be said about this game, given how, like, the Mavs were losing their best player. And, like, missing your best player, obviously you're not really going to end up beating one of the best teams in the Western Conference. It is a little bit concerning how they did get pretty close to that, though. I mean, this wasn't a blowout win. It shows, like, just how good this Dallas Mavericks team really is. And if they had Luka, they could probably come out on top against the Oklahoma City Thunder if they even match up in the postseason. Next game on this list is the New York Knicks. They ended up beating the Portland Trailblazers 105-93. Relatively low scoring, I do understand that, but the Knicks prioritize defense. And that's something that I really like about this team. They love to play defense. Now, I understand that they have a guard on their team that is not really known for his defense, but they also have a lot of other aspects on their team now who are actually known for their defense. And let's see. Bogdanovich, he ended up only scoring 5 points, unfortunately. So far, he's struggling. He's struggling for this team, and he's not bringing as much value to the team as I hoped he would going into the trade. Jalen Brunson, back in the rotation. He's been back in the rotation for quite some time. Ended this game with 45 points. Obviously, fantastic work there by him. Josh Hart ended the game with 7 points, but he was able to get 15 rebounds and 3 steals. He plays 42 minutes. This man is a tank. He is a literal tank because he's a shooting guard, and he's getting all of these rebounds. He's averaging 8 rebounds as a shooting guard. Like, his role to this Knicks team should not be underestimated. And I always say that, like, every team, like, it should want a player that is similar to Draymond Green, like someone who's going to do all the other things that you might need in a team. And Josh Hart, he does that. He fits that role to perfection. If anything, he is like a smaller Draymond Green or a shorter Draymond Green that could shoot. That is incredibly valuable for a team. And like he doesn't get as many assists as Draymond does. Like his playmaking, I mean, he did have a triple-double that one game, so his playmaking is there. But at the same time, like, it's not as good as Draymond. I'm not going to say that his playmaking is as good as Draymond's. And judging by like what he averages, he only averages 3 assists per game. So his playmaking is not really there. But still, having someone that is willing to get the rebounds, and he gets a lot of offensive rebounds as well, give the team second chance points, play defense, you want that in a player. Because more possessions means more opportunities to score, obviously. And DiVincenzo, he had a quiet game. He ended with 12 points. He's capable of dropping 30 if he wants to. And let's see, who else played well? OG Anunoby, he's still back. He's back in the lineup. Obviously, like, he's still feeling some pain. Because, like, I mean, he just came back from surgery, so it makes sense how he's going to feel a little bit of pain going into some of these games. But he ended the game with 12 points, so you can't really complain. DeAndre Ayton, he had a ball game tonight. He ended the game with 31 points and 14 rebounds. 0 assists, though. It's kind of funny because DeAndre Ayton, when he was on Phoenix, he would always complain that he would not get enough shots. And I really don't understand why he would complain about that when the team was winning. Does not make any sense to me whatsoever. And let's see. There's somebody in the chat saying chai the matcha. I have no idea what that word is, and I'm not really going to say that word because I have no idea what it is. I don't even think it's a real word. So we're just going to skim past that. Let's see. Scoot Henderson ended the game with 12 points, 4 of 13 from the field. Not really that efficient. And Delano Banton ended the game with 16 points, 6 of 20 from the field. Again, not really, the only bright spot for Portland was DeAndre Ayton, and that's a big problem if your bright spot is DeAndre Ayton. And obviously this Portland team needs to rebuild. Scoot Henderson, he was thought out to be a better rookie than Victor Wembanyama. No idea where that hype train is now. Completely gone. Ooh, the game started. We're going into the second half of Purdue going up against Michigan State. So get ready for updates on this game. But moving on from that, the Bucks finally they win a game. They beat the 76ers without Joel Embiid. So not really something that impressive. They only won by 9 points. They should have blown them out of the water. I'm sorry, they should have blown them out of the water. Giannis, who quite ironically, he thinks he's the worst player in the NBA. He is absolutely hilarious. Ended the game with 32 points and 11 rebounds and 7 assists, shooting 9 of 12 from the field. Very, very efficient. Damian Lillard only ended the game with 17 points, shooting 7 of 16 from the field. Damian Lillard needs to be more efficient if this team wants to go anywhere in this playoffs. He has to be more efficient. Otherwise, they're just going to keep losing these games. And, steal by Purdue. All right, Purdue looks like they're about to run away with this game. The score is 36-27 right now. Purdue passes to a top of the key. 3-ball is good. And now the score is 39-27 in favor of Purdue. They came out rolling. So going back into the box scores of this game, Brook Lopez ended the game with 19 points, 7 of 12 from the field. Didn't get as many rebounds. 7 rebounds it's still pretty good for a center, but Giannis Antetokounmpo, obviously, he was the horse on this team. And on the Sixers side, Tyrese Maxey ended the game with 30 points, and let's see, shot 12 of 23 from the field. Tobias Harris ended the game with 15 points, and Kyle Lowry, who's now on the 76ers, ended the game with 12 points. That was the only positives in scoring for this team. Obviously, they need a lot of help. And quick update on Joel Embiid. He's expected to return really, really soon. Now, obviously, the time frame on that is a little bit, we don't know exactly when, but he should be back sometime in around early April, maybe late March, to help the Sixers stay in the playoffs, because right now, let me just go ahead and look. They're 7th in the Eastern Conference, and they obviously, they want to have a playoff spot so they don't have to play playing games and risk Joel Embiid getting injured in those games. Getting injured again. And, alright, so now that we have that game out of the way, we can go ahead and we could talk about the Clippers game, where they ended up playing against the Chicago Bulls. Kawhi Leonard and his back spasms, not something that needs to be worried about. Kawhi Leonard, he was back in the lineup, ended the game with 27 points, with 34 minutes logged. So it's not like he got in and then sat out. He played that game. And okay, so now Purdue's only up by 10 right now, and Paul George ended the game with 28 points and 7 assists as well. No James Harden in this game, no problem, obviously, because this Clippers team, it really shows just how good this Clippers team really is. They didn't have James Harden or Russell Westbrook, still were able to come out with a really dominant win. Paul George shot 11 of 12. He only missed 1 shot in this game, and that was a 3-ball. Kawhi Leonard, 12 of 17, 27 points. If these guys play like this, if they play that efficient, there is nothing you can... Whoa, blocked by Michigan State. Fast break, 2-on-3, and Michigan State gets the bucket, 31-41 right now, favor of Purdue. Kawhi Leonard, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's 12 of 17. If these guys shoot this efficiently in the playoffs, it is a very big problem, and I can really see this team going far. Because, Chicago's not that good of a team. They have been doing... Ooh, they missed the 3. They have been doing a lot better recently, but again, not really a playoff team. They're not really a team that needs to be taken much into account. And
I might be favoring the Clippers like a little bit too much, but again, like not playing two of your most important players, like, James Harden and Russ, and still coming out with a win, it's impressive. And like, even if this was any team, I would still be saying that this is impressive. So I really don't think that I think the Clippers, they do still have a good shot of making it all the way. But nice layup. But regardless, I mean, this is still the Clippers. So anything can happen with this team. And forgive me if like I'm a little bit hesitant on some of these words. I am watching this game actively go on right now. I can't show you the game obviously because like copyright issues, but the game is between Michigan State and Purdue is still going on, and I am watching this. Corner three missed by Michigan State, rebound by Michigan State still, so they have another chance. But yeah, Kawhi Leonard going to if they all play this efficiently, it's a serious problem going into the playoffs. Okay, scores 33-43 Purdue. And let's see, what other game happened last night? This game is actually going to go into my final segment, which is going to be talking about the Washington Wizards and how now they're ironically one of the worst teams in the NBA right now. Another fast break by Michigan State, 35-43. So I'll be right back after this. Actually, you know what? I might as well. I'll go ahead and talk about the box scores of this game, and I'll repeat the box scores in the next segment as well. So, the Washington Wizards, they got absolutely owned by the Houston Rockets. The final score was 135-119 in favor of Houston. And let's see. Jalen Green ended the game with 37 points. Very, very impressive. He was different this game. I don't know what he was on. He was absolutely different. There was a clip. Like, I'm sure you guys saw this on Instagram, but he broke a defender's ankles, stared at him, shot the three, and then turned around. And that is menace behavior right there. That is dirty. That is probably one of the nicest moves that I've ever seen in my entire life. Fred VanVleet ended the game with 27 points. Let's see. Eamon Thompson, Sir Thompson's brother, by the way, ended the game with 20 points. 9 of 12 from the field. Very, very impressive. Jabari Smith Jr. ended the game with 16 points, 6 of 10 from the field. Obviously, these guys, like, they were out of their minds in the scoring. Let's see, where's Dillon Brooks? Dillon Brooks shot 5 of 8 from the field, 13 points. I mean, obviously, like in his head, I'm the best player ever. That's what he says. And that's not best player ever numbers right there. Yes, I am not a Dillon Brooks fan. He tried to disrespect and put down my glorious king, LeBron James. I am not a fan of Dillon Brooks, and you guys definitely would know that. But with that, we are out of time for this third segment. Now I'm going to go right ahead into the fourth segment, which is going to continue talking about the Washington Wizards and how disappointing their season has been, and how ironic it is that they are disappointing in this season. So I will be right back after this short break. And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast.
brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this final segment, we're going to be talking about the Washington Wizards, as well as, continue giving updates on this game going on right now. Okay, this is a very interesting defensive scheme that that Michigan State is putting in right now. Purdue just hit a 3, so they're doubling that big man in the paint, and that big man is sort of like, he has to be a Jokic player. He has to sort of survey the floor and pass to the open man because he's getting double teamed right now, and they have to start hitting their threes and shooting a lot of threes if they want to make them pay for doubling him. Now, Michigan State answers right back with a 3 of their own. So you might notice that quote underneath the show segment, "Don't be that team." Well, that quote is what Kyle Kuzma tweeted out when the Detroit Pistons were up by 20 points against the Boston Celtics. He jokingly tweeted that saying, wow, at this point it's like, don't be as bad as the Detroit Pistons. Turnover by Michigan State. Foul by Michigan State. Okay. But, yeah, essentially, that's what he tweeted out because he didn't, obviously, the Pistons at the beginning of the season, they were a joke. They literally broke the NBA season record for most consecutive losses in the regular season. And they were considered the worst team in the NBA. There were talks of them being considered the worst team in NBA history. And here we are now, late in the season. The Wizards are worse than the Detroit Pistons. How can you be worse than a team that broke the record for most consecutive losses? That is incredible. That is ridiculously ironic coming in from Kuzma. That is karma. If you guys believe in karma, that is 100% karma. And won by Purdue. That was just a regular layup, 48-38. Excuse me for that. But again, this team is it's really, really bad. And the biggest problem with the Wizards, shockingly, a poor defense. They only really care about their offense. Their best player that's being paid the most money right now, Jordan Poole. Now, I did have a segment previously on this podcast about Jordan Poole, if you guys remember it, but I'll go ahead and refresh everyone's mind. Layup by Michigan State. Okay. It's an and 1. So now they're within 7 going up against them. But Jordan Poole, he comes from Golden State. He gets this really big contract, and it's expected that Jordan Poole is going to average 27 points per game or 30, because in the playoffs, when he was coming off the bench, he was averaging almost 20. It makes total sense how somebody and not only that, he had games where he would score 36 points. Literally, there was a point where Stephen Curry had to either come off the bench or just not play at all, and they wouldn't miss any of his production because Jordan Poole would give that production. So he was a monster. He was being called the third Splash Brother for a reason. And that's why he got all of this money coming in from Washington, because they thought, okay, we'll build around Jordan Poole. He's a great shooter. He's a great option for the offense. And what could go wrong when a bench player or a sixth man that's getting you 20 points while not even being the number one option? You can only expect that as he becomes the number one option, his production would go up. That has been the exact opposite. Right now, he is dead last in box plus minuses. And right now, he's averaging, as a starter, he was averaging 17 points per game, just about. He wasn't averaging 30, and it makes no sense because when he's on a bad team, okay, he's on a bad team, and now he has the green light to take any type of shot. Oh no, somebody on Purdue just went down with a big injury. He's holding his right leg right now. Oh no, I don't know what that is. But that might be a problem. The game stopped just now. The game is on a complete stop. That's not good. But I digress. So regardless, again, Jordan Poole, he was expected to average 30 points per game. with being on a bad team, it means that you're going, at least now in this era, it means that you're going to get a lot of shots if you're the number one option. And the fact that he's gotten a lot of shots and he hasn't produced nearly as much as he was expected of him, it's extremely disappointing. Like, if you look at his clips, like if you look at his highlights, you'll see that there are times where he looks like he's one of the best ball handlers in the league, and he takes these incredible shots and these difficult shots, but he'll have one good play, and then directly after that, he'll have like 3, maybe even 5 bad plays that don't help the team. So he'll get a quick bucket, a nice bucket, one possession, and then when they're coming down the floor, he'll give up a wide open layup, not play defense, do something bad on the defensive side of the ball that just completely negates what he does on the offensive side of the ball. And then he'll come back down the court and then do random flashy dribbles and take a bad shot. And then wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. It happens every single time. And it'll happen for like 5 straight possessions or so. There was a moment where he was on the floor, right? Like his rear end was on the floor, and he was actually considering to shoot the ball. Like, he wasn't even looking to pass. He was just looking like, do I shoot this? Do I not shoot this? That was literally what was going through his mind. And I thought he was going to shoot it. I really thought he was going to shoot it. But he only plays for highlights. And you can see it on his attitude. And there was a time where he was in a timeout. The coach was making a play. He wasn't even paying attention to the play. And then he comes back looking confused, like, what was the play? You're the star player. You're supposed to know what the play is. And it's been nothing but disappointment. And don't be that team, that quote, it's been living in the Wizards' head and their minds for the longest time. And there's something that just irks me about players who talk the talk but cannot walk the walk, which is honestly why I really like Kawhi Leonard a lot. Like, Kawhi doesn't talk for anything. He doesn't say a word. He backs his game up. And that's one of the big reasons why I like Kawhi. And obviously, like, I mean, as a LeBron fan, when they match up against each other, I'm not a big fan of LeBron. Just a little bit of an update on the player. The player that just went down is number 3 for Purdue. I don't know I can't see his last name, but he ended up. I'm looking at they're showing the replay right now of and he landed awkwardly on his right leg. I think he's going to be out for this game. I'm not entirely sure if he was a key player. I'll ask my cousin. My cousin actually goes to Purdue. What he thinks of this injury right now, and if this will affect them going into the NCAA tournament. But regardless, like, okay, so the score is 48-41 right now. 12 minutes left to go in the second half, and again, focusing on the Wizards, Jordan Poole, like, while he might be the main problem, like, he's also not the only problem. Kyle Kuzma is another problem on that list. He's another arrogant, cocky player who, like, thinks of himself way too highly. Ooh, they just scored. So now it's 43-48 Purdue. And Kyle Kuzma is second to last on the list of total box plus minuses. So Jordan Poole is dead last, and Kyle Kuzma is directly after that. Their defense is, that's a bad shot coming in from Purdue. Their defense is something that needs to be worked on, and that is critical for this team. It is absolutely critical. And, like, there's really not much that, like, you can't rely on just offense for an NBA team. You just can't. Especially when it's just relying on one person. I think it's a very bad philosophy. You have to have defense. You have to have something that your team can fall back on. Especially when your guards are going to be handling the offensive side of the ball a lot more than they're going to be handling the defensive side of the ball. But even with that, you should still prioritize defense. And with how Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma play, they're just like, meh, whatever, if they score. You can't have that. Like, Kuzma and Jordan Poole, they give up some of the easiest baskets that I've ever seen. Like, when Jordan Poole is playing defense, he just ball watches. And his defender can easily backdoor cut him for an easy layup. You cannot give that up. You just can't give that up when you're a player like him and when you're a team. Whoa, Michigan State it's rallying. Michigan State's rallying. The score right now is 45-48. They went on a 7-0 run after this injury. Oh no. This might be bad for Purdue. This is not looking good for Purdue right now. 45-48. 11 minutes still left to go. They can't generate an offense right now. They got to give it to their big man. He passes to the corner. Open three. Good. All right. Purdue stopped the bleeding. So now they're back up 51-45. Timeout by Michigan State. Whew. That was a lot to unpack there going forward. But yeah, the Wizards, again, like, not a good defensive team. That's what mainly hurts them. And I really have nothing left to talk about in this segment. I really want to continue watching this Purdue game. So I think I'm gonna, and yeah, I have ran out of time. That's the end of the show segment. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us. So please remember to subscribe to the show. Leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Remember to use the link in the description and the link displayed below the show segment to get your comments recognized. That is gsmcpodcast.net. So it really helps the show, makes the show much more interactive. That's the end of the show segment. Please, well, not really, please. Tune into the Purdue game that's going on right now. Ooh, they're starting to fight. Ooh, they're getting into a scuffle. They're getting in each other's faces. This is a really good game going on right now. So I definitely recommend tuning in to watch this game. Thank you guys once again for tuning into the show. I am your host, Nelson, and as always, take care. Let's go, Q!
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn ain't that